Today we are looking at a summer squash. Now this is a good example of how different plants have different flowering structures. Here we have an example of a female flower and a male flower. Now this is a female flower, you can tell because there's actually that fruit area behind the actual flower. And this is a male flower and it doesn't have it. So if you want to hand pollinate, you can actually pull the male flower off and just use this part of the male flower to go ahead and hand pollinate the female flower. And that's the way that even if your pollinators, bees and other insects, aren't doing the job, you can still assure that you end up getting a well pollinated plant. And so now that flower has been pollinated, it will close, and this will actually grow into a squash. And you'll find that this holds true not only for the summer squash, but also for winter squash, melons, cucumbers, a lot of your vining plants, that you'll have the male and the female, and you can hand pollinate just by taking one of those male flowers off and using it to pollinate the female. You can also use a Q-tip or something else, but since the male flowers are often numerous, you can just pull one off and use it directly. So here we are 5 days later, and that hand fertilized flower has grown into a full-size desi squash. And so now we can just go ahead and harvest it, and this is a technique that you can use to make sure that even if you don't necessarily have the pollinators themselves, you can still have success in getting your plant fertilized. Now there are some plants that have flowers that are actually self-fertile. They have both the male and the female components. But these plants also still need to have that pollen spread between their component parts. Now, a lot of insects that are pollinators do this through their buzzing action. They actually vibrate the plant. But if you don't have enough pollinators that all of these flowers are getting hit, you might want to do some hand pollination. The wind can actually do some of it too, but you might want to do it just to make sure that you're getting the most return on your flowers. So you can either do it by shaking the whole stem or just by moving the area that has the flowers on it. For the most part, you're not going to upset the flowers too much, and you'll spread that pollen. So for peppers or tomatoes, it's a good opportunity to just make sure that you are pollinating them as well.